In Atlas of AI, Kate Crawford challenges the conventional comparison between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. She argues that likening AI to human minds often neglects the embodiment, relationships, and environments integral to human functioning. While AI is typically perceived as disembodied and abstract, Crawford demonstrates that it is deeply material and embodied. It's constructed from natural resources, human labor, and vast amounts of data. Crawford highlights that AI involves classifications that are rooted in decisions impacting identities, attempts to interpret human emotions, and serves as a tool for state power. Moreover, she emphasizes that AI is not autonomous. It heavily relies on human-provided data and predefined rules. This perspective forms the backbone of the book's narrative. It offers a fresh lens to view AI and its prominent role in today's technological culture. An interesting point in the introduction is Crawford's tendency to equate AI with machine learning. While AI is a term prevalent in marketing and popular discourse, machine learning is more frequently used in technical literature. However, this view is somewhat narrow. AI encompasses more than just machine learning. It includes fields like search algorithms, optimization, planning, scheduling, and knowledge representation. Major AI conferences and journals cover a broad range of topics beyond machine learning. This indicates that researchers actively use the term artificial intelligence in their scientific work. Crawford also brings to attention parties not traditionally considered in discussions about AI ethics: contract workers, immigrants, environmental impacts, and harm to other species. She sheds light on the complex web of inequality in politics that underpins AI development and its deployment. Chapter 1 dives into AI's dependency on raw materials like lithium, which are essential for building rechargeable batteries in AI-powered devices. Crawford visits specific places like Silver Peak, Nevada, a massive underground lithium lake, to highlight the environmental damage, the health issues to the miners, and the displacement of communities resulting from what she terms as computational extraction. This phrase refers to the extraction of natural resources to support computational technologies, revealing the often overlooked environmental and human costs of AI. The computation required to build AI doesn't exist in a vacuum. These computers need to be manufactured, the materials extracted, and the energy needs to be generated. Crawford cites research indicating that training a single natural language processing model can produce over 660,000 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions, equivalent to 125 round trips from New York to Beijing. This statistic underscores the significant carbon footprint associated with AI development. In Chapter 2, Crawford explores the evolving relationship between humans and technology in the workplace, focusing on human-robotic hybrid work in warehouses and assembly lines. She situates the current practices within a historical context of standardization, simplification, and optimization and scaling, all efficiency processes that predate AI's emergence in industries like car manufacturing or meat processing. The chapter examines how the technology is used for worker surveillance and tracking, shedding light on the dynamics of labor. She discusses the gig economy and the often precarious conditions faced by workers who support these AI systems. And it further highlights the issues of inequality and exploitation with respect to the employees and the human costs that are associated with developing AI and sustaining it. In Chapter 3, she addresses AI's insatiable demand for vast amounts of data. Initially, data about people, like voices, facial images, and text. They become essential for training and testing AI systems, often detaching it from individuals and the context from which the data was collected. early AI development paid little attention to privacy, and now it's only sort of increasing the awareness and regulations for requiring some forms of consent. Now, with the advent of the internet, diverse types of data became readily available, and it blurred the lines between public and private information. Here she highlights the complex interplay between data collection and privacy concerns, and it emphasizes that data is not a neutral resource, but it's embedded within human values and biases, which can have huge ethical consequences. Chapter 4 has to do with classification. Data labeling necessitates predefined classes, making the decisions on these categories crucial for building these AI models. But these classifications are value-laden. It focuses on the assumptions and implications of these decisions. Classifications, they reflect specific worldviews and often assume universality, particularly concerning gender, race, or other human characteristics. She connects here the issues of bias to classification, emphasizing that the absence or misrepresentation of certain labels of classifications can perpetuate systemic biases in AI systems. She argues that biases are not merely technical errors, but they're inherent in the data itself, which carries human values and normative frameworks. For example, categorizing race poses complex issues regarding how racial identities are conceptualized and understood. Chapter 5. In Chapter 5, Crawford examines AI's application in recognizing human emotions through facial analysis. This task is based on the controversial assumption that emotions are universal and can be accurately detected by machines. The idea of universal emotions comes from Paul Ekman. There's a show on that called Lie to Me, and it's really based on some fuzzy science. Now, she traces this assumption back to pre-AI studies and physiognomy and affect recognition, which have faced significant skepticism regarding their validity. She critiques companies like Emotions, which was acquired by Apple, and academic endeavors like Affectiva, which claims that they can detect emotions from facial expressions. She ultimately argues that these speculative AI ventures are built upon questionable scientific foundations, again, like Paul Ekman's theories on universal facial expressions, and they lack rigorous empirical support. This historical perspective underscores the challenge and ethical concerns in AI's efforts to interplay human emotions accurately. This really highlights the ethical and the challenges that flow out of these ethical concerns to interpret human emotions accurately and whether it can be done, and the sorts of malicious consequences that can result from basing technology on bad science. Chapter 6. In Chapter 6, she explores how many AI practices have roots in military priorities and methodologies influenced by early military funding for AI research. She illustrates how military-driven classifications and surveillance frameworks have permeated civilian life, affecting areas like banking, airport security, or public surveillance. She discusses the ethical implications of AI's use in state power and control, noting that despite corporate ethical guidelines like Google's AI principles prohibiting developments of weapons or technologies that facilitate harm, AI application is still used in warfare and surveillance, and it raises significant concerns. Bias or discrimination in these contexts can have dire consequences. It could be life or death. Now, this book is fantastic for this argument that we need to understand AI as not this sort of godlike abstract figure, but as a embodied and material phenomenon that's deeply intertwined with the upstream and downstream effects of artificial intelligence and developing it and further improving it, and the consequences that result from the inputs and the outputs are really, really important to think about when we just blindly throw money into AI development. Crawford's book challenges the conventional view of AI as this disembodied intelligence, and it pushes readers to consider the broad implications of AI's development and deployment. By examining the historical and social and ethical dimensions of AI, we can have a more nuanced perspective that enriches our understanding of this rapidly evolving field. Her insight prompts critical reflection on the often unseen costs of AI and encourages a more responsible and equitable approach to technology. It's a thought-provoking book for anyone interested in AI, ethics, and the social impacts of technology. And it serves as a reminder that AI is not just about algorithms and data, it's about people, resources, and the world we live in.